Spirit has chosen the Four Corners spread for your general monthly reading, which lays a nice, diverse groundwork where we will be looking into the four main areas of interest that people commonly ask about in tarot: the work corner, the financial money corner, the health corner, and the ever-popular love corner. We are going to take a stroll through all four to see what Spirit wants to discuss about your month. And that is what we're going to do today. Welcome in, Sagittarius, to your Four Corners spread for February 2024. We're going to dive right into it, guys. Actually going to start with the health corner. It's one of your simpler ones. We got big ones in love. We got big ones in finance. We're going to save those for last. Make sure we devote plenty of time to those. Let's get into health. Health, the first thing they talk about is my Saggies are very good up here. Very strong mental health. And it is going to need a continuance of that when we have good things in tarot. We want to see more of good things in tarot. So Saggy, they're saying be of that strong will when it comes to health. It's like, if you're on a diet, you're doing a good job with it, stick to it, okay? Be very strong up here. Willpower, that's really what it is. Very authoritative with your mental health too. One or both of those definitions for sure. Now the next thing they show is that, health can move in, if health in February goes down a notch, okay? Or it'll give you the diet example that we just did. You fall off the diet for a couple days. Maybe you had a cheat day. You were at an event and, they had all your favorite food and you just couldn't say no, or whatever it is for you here. It's okay. You just got to get back on track. Like, don't let a setback derail you completely, okay? So you got to kind of get things back on the rails and get things moving here again with health. So that's pretty much all that they talk about here. Nice, short, and sweet. Not a lot to worry about, but they're bringing up that for a reason, because they see that some of you can, react negatively to the setback. So even if this is just getting a germ, getting a virus or a bacterial infection of some form, it is the winter months, that this is the time when most people do get sick. Just remember that this is just a short interruption and you're going to get back to the program. So there you goes for health. Next thing let's go to, let's do the finance, but first work. Work is simpler. Finance, much more complicated. Work for Saggies, the first thing they talk about is how a lot of you guys really need to open up something here. I don't know if they're talking about spending or really kind of open up your possibilities or paths or what this is, but it's my hoarder card. And in this deck specifically, it's very business related. So it's saying, don't be a business hoarder. Okay, so that's basically saying open it up. Don't let anything don't constrain yourself. Don't restrict yourself from your possibilities. How high your ceiling really is. The sky is the limit here, Saggies. And February is obviously coming in as a month where they don't want you to hold anything back, because they show that here some Saggies have had a really difficult or a weird or some kind of relatively not pain-free work corner. There have been some challenges here. There has been some strife and some grief. Okay, they show that. And the good news is that that's in the past now. You got to remember that that's over with. And whatever, upset you or got you riled up, maybe it's a fight with a coworker, maybe it's something with your job or your company you don't like, or whatever it is here, you got to put that behind you. You got to move forward, even if it's moving forward without the company or without the coworker, finding something else to do. You got to get over it one way or the other. They want you to open up your possibilities, guys. So there's a lot of potential to be had in the work corner. They don't specify specific examples here. So I think they want to really leave it up to you. And it is also probably the best time to remind you too that this is a general reading, Saggies, and the information sometimes is very general. And that's because we have so many great Saggies tuning in. I love you all. But at the end of the day, nothing beats a personal, private reading. And I offer a wide variety of those, from small all the way up to full service, all personalized just to you. And those are available on my website, scottsagent.com. A little something for everybody there. So there's your work corner, short and sweet. Now we're getting into your very large themes. The first one here is finance. It's kind of like a good with the bad here financially, because they start off with the bad by saying, there's something toxic here. There's something that needs to be purified. Maybe it's the way that you spend. Maybe that there's a really toxic bill that keeps pulling at you, keeps weighing you down and holding you back from where you need to be. I'm not sure what version of it is. Maybe for some of you, it's a toxic person. Maybe you got like some kind of leech hanging on you that you just got to keep, you're trying to deal with this, but they keep sucking money out of you. So you get the energy of what I'm referring to here. So the first thing we need to talk about there is doing things the right way and getting that energy away from you, basically cutting that out, whatever it is. That is very purging energy. We're going to have a micro full moon this month. That just means it's small in the sky, the full moon is, but you can still use these energies to your benefit. We'll talk more about those in the moon cycle. But pay attention to the full moon, at least if you're trying to purge something here financially out of your life. They show, now here comes all the good stuff. We show transportation coming up financially. So some of you are using your money for transportation, buying plane tickets, going on trips, road trips, spending money on a car, something like that, right? And they also show new money coming in. So the finances are checking in very good with the exception of this toxic piece. And I'm not exactly even sure what that is, but everything else is so nice here. I just want to see you get there. Get this little booger out of the way, this little, turd that will not flush. Get it out of the way. It doesn't need to be there. They bring in the outdoors. So a lot of you could be spending money or just doing very well for yourself by getting into nature a little bit in February. It says in the card, go outside, get some fresh air, connect with nature to relieve stress and gain new creative ideas. So they're saying a lot of Sagittarius, get inspired by nature, by getting outdoors. You get these new ideas and inspirations, and that's excellent. That's actually very grounding to get out into nature. And even if you're not available to do that, let's say you're in the middle of Alaska and it's wintertime, you can't go anywhere. Well, sometimes a nice hot bath will qualify for that because water is very grounding. That's why people love the beach. So there you go. That's a nice financial outlook despite the toxic stuff. And you know what you need to do to get that all resolved and, moving on in a very good path. Let's get into your love, guys. Love is a big corner. And good time to tell you here that the chemistry tracking is a little wonky this month. The chemistry tracking is something I post on my website as well as on the Facebook page. It just shows what sign other signs are doing well with in the month of February. And this was probably the most bizarre one that I've ever seen. You'll see that once you look at my chart. And Saggies were a part of that. Actually, most signs were. Not to hold back from you or anybody else. It's just the way it was. Now, I do have my Lover's card coming in first. So it would seem on the surface level that, hey, this is an excellent love month for Sagittarius. Such good love possibilities or the extension of new love with your current partner. But the energy around it, it feels different. And it not in a bad way, but it feels like that's just not what they're talking about here. What they're talking about here is your either relationship partner directly or your close friends or your close family members. Kind of as a unit. They're talking more about the group for you here than just you. Now, they bring in career transition. It is such a weird thing to see coming up in the love corner. You'd expect it to come up under work. If they wanted you to consider what the card says, your life purpose is triggered or triggering a blessed career change. And because of that, it makes me feel like it's not for you. It makes me feel like you have an influence here to really help somebody very close to you adjust their career path. Hey, maybe you can get them a job working where you work if you like your job, right? Or if they'd be a good fit or something like that. Or maybe you can tell them, hey, you're such a good painter. Why don't you, go to take some artistic classes, go back to school for that or teach art, right? So, there's a plentiful amount of possibilities that exist here. I feel like actually a lot of this, for a lot of you, of course, not everybody, but for some of you, more so of the audience than not. Let's put it that way because it's coming up as a theme. Has to do with the medical field, actually. The medical, whether it's medicine itself or just the field like nursing, doctorate type stuff, prescription medicine. I guess that falls back into medicine, but you get the idea. That comes up for like health related stuff, maybe even personal trainer type stuff or dietitian. All that stuff comes up here very much for, I think, what you can help this other person with. And sometimes Spirit uses you to really help somebody else. And they see opportunities here for somebody that is very close to you, Sagittarius. So I want to see you get there. And they also show that, this is just a weird love month because I got my Ten of Swords. In this deck, It is, I was going to say death. And this card, I call it a death by 1,000 paper cuts. So it's nothing severe, but it's just these little agitations, just like a paper cut is. It's not, nobody's going to die from a paper cut, more than likely. I don't think that's ever happened before. But, maybe if in a third world country you get it very infected or something terrible like that, that's what it would take. So this is just a nuisance. This is a pain in the butt. The love corner thing, like maybe you're dealing with somebody who is really just not seeing the big picture. They have no idea what they want to do. They're very scatterbrained, right? So really here you have an opportunity to relieve these paper cuts, get them back on the right path, and in doing so, that will help a lot of you out too, because you are so closely bonded with them. Some of you are actually in a relationship with this person. So there you go. Now let's get into that runestone, guys, which further reiterates how important this is, because the runestone is partnership. Partnership, guys, is two people, two entities working together. Does not have to be romantic. Of course it may, being up here, that's a driver, but career transition is just popping in. So we have partnership there. Partnership in the financial corner is, I think it's more about getting your stuff right. And maybe that is with another person. If your finances are together, that could definitely be a thing there. So you can see partnership through a couple of your corners here, but I think it's mostly situated in that love corner for you. So very good reading, a lot of actually pertinent information that I think a lot of my Saggies can put into play right now to really set up February, really set up March, really, by getting February in line so that you guys have an excellent March. Now I'm going to tell you about those moon cycles, and we're going to wrap up with some homily, which is me wearing a full raincoat. You'll see why soon. Okay guys, it is moon cycles forecast time. Let's talk about these lunar energies that are all around us anyways, so we can use it to our benefit, implement some positive change into your month. Well, the first thing you need to understand is whether these energies are coming in or going out. Just like the tides, the moon has control of that. In the same way, you can use it too. The first thing that hits chronologically this month is the new moon. You're going to see all the text information on your screen, any rare occurrences, as well as the date. Now, this is a target date for the new moon. It doesn't have to be done on this date, guys. I really like to bracket a few days before and a few days after to get a very powerful week where you can bring new things into your life and really manifest. If it is NEW, it's not there before, brand new, this is the best time to bring it into your life. Something new financially, maybe something new with work, new love, new health. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's new, this is the best time of the month to work on these things, really help bring it in. Adversely, the full moon, the opposite energy, the energy going out, hits on this date on your screen. And of course, the same rules apply. It doesn't have to be done on this date. We're talking about a week window, a few days on each side of it here. When this energy is very strong going out, and the energy going out is the best time to get things out of your life that don't belong there or that you don't want there, something that's got control of you or hold of you that you don't want. Maybe something like a bad habit, maybe emotional baggage, a bill that's got to go. That would be something financially, maybe something with health, maybe an eating habit that's got to go. It doesn't matter if it's got to go. The full moon is your best bet to get this change to stick. If any of this has confused you, I've put together a moon cycle cheat sheet. I do it every single month. It is free. It is on the website, guys. You can check it out very easily. It is a little graphic illustration, a tool that you can use so you can kind of see these changes moving in and moving out, so you can align things in your month to it to really get them to stick, implement some great positive changes. Now let's get into your homily. Hello friends, and welcome into your homily, February 2024 edition. My name is Scott Sagent, and the name of this homily this month is Don't Let It Rain on Your Parade. We're going to be talking about managing expectations here. Good expectations that we might be too high on, expecting too much from, bad things, expecting bad days, and how we can get way too low on that. Finding a nice middle ground here. The first and very most important thing to start with is that us, as human beings, we are just prediction machines. Our mind is computing and processing a whole bunch of stimuli every single second of every single day, trying to figure out what's going to happen next so that you can be in the right present moment, making the best decisions for you at that time. So just like if you come up to a stop sign and there's another car, you're trying to figure out, both you guys are really, who's going to go first, who's going to do what you're trying to figure out what they're going to do so you don't crash into them, right? Same thing if a stranger walks up to you, you're trying to figure out analyze the heck out of it as quick as you're not even realizing it's happening at this point. It happens automatically, but you're trying to figure out, is this stranger coming up to me? Can they be trusted? Are they a good person? Or are they going to rob me? Okay, so we're doing all these kind of things all the time, all these computations behind the scene. And as a result of all that, we come up with expectations, our version of the future, whether it be a good event or a negative event, doesn't matter. We're creating these expectations all the time about what we expect to happen. But here's the thing, a lot of times these expectations do not happen. Never happens at all. Or maybe they're not as good as we want them to be, or as bad as we would like to avoid. So let's get into a little bit of that. Now, I like to look at this with a frame that I call the 5% rule. So let's take a good example first. Hey, you're going to Disneyland, you're going to a theme park, doesn't matter which one, pretend, okay, you're gonna have the best day ever. Your expectations are way up here. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna meet these characters, I'm gonna get to go on all these rides, I'm gonna, live out my childhood dreams and just have a great day all the way up here. That's what you're expecting, okay? And that's fine, maybe it'll happen, but there's only that 5% rule, the 5% chance that you're gonna get to the tippy top of what is actually going to occur. Stuff happens, stuff goes wrong, and if you're up there, that 5%, well, the reality is that you're going to be somewhere in that other 95% range, which is way down here, okay? So even if it's a good day and it's up here, it's like, well, I didn't get to go on all the rides I wanted to go on. I got to go on half of them, but there's the other half, and the lines were too long. Or, maybe down here, it rained all day. They had to shut down some rides. It didn't work out at all for me. That was not what I was expecting at all. So anywhere off of your top tier of what you were expecting before is going to be a letdown. You're going to feel that very deeply in you, like, something is just not really good. Not a good feeling, not a good emotion to have. Now let's look at a negative one. Same rule of fives apply. Hey, you got to go to a dentist appointment. And this is going to be one where you're expecting a procedure to happen that is going to be a little painful, a little bit of uncomfortness going on, and you're just not looking forward to it. Okay, so your expectation is like down, down, down here. I'm not sure if I'm off the camera, but I'm pretty low down here. So anyway, the same 5% rule applies, guys. Same 5% rule. It's usually not as bad as you expect it to be, the bad things, okay? You're going to be in that 95% range somewhere else. So, hey, you get this procedure done, and okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought. That didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. Maybe it was an uncomfortable hour and a half. But you know what? Now, that was up here. That wasn't that bad. Now I can feel like that weight is lifted off my shoulder. I got that out of the way, done and checked off my list. So it's the rule of the 5%. Now, what do we do with this information, right? Now, a lot of people say, oh, you just got to eliminate the expectations. Just get rid of them altogether. You don't need them, right? We don't need to have expectations about what's going to happen, whether it be good or bad. Well, that's a utopia. That is just not realistic, since we are human prediction machines. We are always trying to figure stuff out, and without expectations, that would leave us with nothing to ever look forward to. And of course, it's okay to look forward to something. You just got to manage this. So let's talk about how we manage these. Giving those two examples that I gave you earlier, let's go through both of them. The Disney World, having a great time, expectations up to here. Hey, you know what? Let's bring the expectation into middle keel. You know why? Because I expect that I'm going to have fun no matter what happens. Because at the end of the day, it is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. It's the decisions you make. So if you go into the day thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to have the best time possible with whatever situations and circumstances come up. I'm going to make sure that this is a good day. Okay, so you're up here and you're nice and good. That's managing your expectations for the good. Now let's talk about managing the low side. That dentist appointment, that painful procedure, that cavity filling, that root canal, whatever it is. Okay, well, what do we do about this? You tell yourself, hey, you know what? It might not be that bad. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to check it off my list, and I'm going to put it behind me. You're going to attack the day in a much more middle keel. And the likelihood is you're going to hit that 95% either way. So it's all going to work out kind of more in the middle regardless. Nothing is ever as bad as we expect it to be. And usually nothing is ever as good as we expect it to be either. And that's okay, because we're managing expectations. Of course, this doesn't always come naturally to everybody. Sometimes it does take a little bit of practice and implementation to lower these expectations, or at least manage the kind of middle ground, that 95% range of both sides of things. But the rain will come. It always does. The challenges in life will come. Nothing ever works out like we intend it to, whether it be too good or too bad. And the good news is that puts the power back into your corner, because again, it is not what happens to you. It is what you do with what happens to you. You remember that, you'll be in great shape, guys. So that is going to conclude your homily for February 2024. Do not let it rain on your parade, guys. I'm telling you. That's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed the reading. Please remember to like and subscribe so you see the future readings. Have an excellent February. I know you will.
So I guess the fortune teller's right.